I think the next big breakthrough, I've said it before, is electrothermal. The actual regeneration of heat.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That's the big breakthrough. Once they crack that, you're talking about taking hybrids to a whole new level.
Yeah.
And I think you actually can forget fuel cell. Hybrid will take over.
That is one area that we are already considering, is when we have a totally flexible hybrid control system, is looking at all the other areas of the cars where we can capture energy, convert it to electricity and feed it back into the energy store. And obviously the big opportunity is exhaust heat and waste engine heat. Quite how to do it isn't going to be all that easy.
I don't really know where the technology is at on electrothermal, as you actually say on there. In terms of, is that basically the equivalent of actually generating power from the exhaust gases as they actually expand through the actual exhaust pipe?
From the heat.
From the heat?
Yeah.
Right.
Take the actual expanded heat and you regenerate electricity to feed back to the batteries and feed back to the power of the engine source.
Right, okay.
And I suppose a simple way of doing it initially is to run a turbine in the exhaust and a generator off the turbine, but that's probably the crudest of the technologies that is being explored.
Why haven't those technologies been developed faster then, if they've got that potential there? Because I mean, there's nothing particular in terms of other areas, things like battery systems, in terms of recovered energy on vehicles. You know, there are reasons why electric vehicles have taken so long to develop, is because actually the battery technology has not been up to the mark really. In terms of actually regenerating power from turbines and stuff like that, the electric motors, the turbine technology itself has been around quite a long while. What's going to make the difference?
Well, the difference is the battery technology and the control systems. I think once you have a vehicle with the energy store and a way to capture the energy and reuse it, then the whole technology becomes a lot more viable.
If you can link the electrothermal system into a hybrid that runs on ethanol, that runs on normal fuel, all four systems, with a clever ECU unit that transfers through them.
Sorry, ECU?
ECU, electrical control unit. It's the car's brain. If you can enhance all four, and on board with capture the CO2, release and regenerate through the ethanol project or methanol, you've extended the fuel life of that car dramatically beyond anybody's dreams. You're smashing 100 miles per gallon. You're going way beyond that, and that's the holy grail. If you can combine all those four technologies and make them successfully, but give the engine its brain so it controls at every point, and it grows with your driving style. It learns as you drive. That's the power you've got to give the car. If you give that to the car, it takes us to a whole new dream.
But a long way in the future to make it anywhere near production.
You've got three that are available now, you've got one that people are working on. If that car was allowed to be designed and done, I think you'd be within maybe 5 to 10 years, if it was allowed. But there's so many parameters around that. You're taking on too many parameters about the car. Whether it was allowed, it may well be, it may not. You're talking about having a car that extends its mileage, so you don't need to go to the garage as much. That's a problem for certain companies, but for the impact on the environment and everything else, it's the right way to go.
I mean, our experience of the uptake of technologies, because we've been making hybrid drive systems for more than 15 years, is that the market has to be, it's not whether people want it or not, it's actually whether you can offer it in a commercial package which actually makes commercial sense. And as soon as you can offer something to somebody where it will save them money, they will buy it. There's no, it's black and white.
Thing about that is,
if people are spending money buying a technology, they won't take it, and if they're actually saving money, they'll buy it. And that's quite interesting what's happened over the last, probably, over the last 12 months with the increase in diesel prices and with the increase in other costs associated with actually running carbon-hungry vehicles has actually flipped it over to actually say that a lot of the technologies which previously were limited to niche areas are now actually commercially viable. But in terms of whether there are any new technologies there, that's going to be really quite interesting. I mean, I would suggest it's probably more likely to come from material development, and that actually new materials which are going into battery technology for energy storage to get power density up, to get cycle efficiencies up. I think there's still a lot of potential there for actually giving new and better improvements.
From a technology perspective, another area that I think is very applicable to hybrid cars is possibly electric supercharging, because you can still maintain your vehicle efficiency by having the downsized engine, but have that extra option for power when you need it.